Now, if you're quite familiar with the trading and marketplace scene, you probably know the difference between this link and this link right here. Obviously, the top one is blue for me because I haven't clicked on it, but it's also a phishing link for Buff. It's not the real thing. Now, on screen, you can see the utilization of how this works. Basically, it's with the QR code, something that we really haven't seen utilized inside of the scam world, especially as of recently. Now, the thing about this is it comes at the perfect time for these people who are the scammers because there's so much confusion going on right now. Obviously, Valve is rolling out a significant amount of changes for these websites that use peer-to-peer, which Buff obviously does, and therefore people are much more likely right now to go ahead and fall for a scam like this because they are not 100% sure what these websites are doing. Obviously, these websites don't even know what they're doing. They're just trying to find a way around the changes, and it leads to situations like this where your QR code is now being utilized maliciously, and it's going to be taking away everything about your account because it's only taking 2 days now because they're utilizing a SIM swap equivalent type of scam. SkinSwap is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free bonus for signing up with the first link in the description. They're the premier place for CSGO and Rust skins with a massive trading site and a top-of-the-line marketplace, offering you the most competitive rates out there and a massive 40% bonus when you're using that link in the description. Combine that with their top-of-the-line selling feature with many payout options and their trading feature legitimately taking you just about a minute, and there's no reason not to sign up with that first link in the description. Now, one area I want to dive a little bit deeper into is going to be the Broken Fang stickers. Now, the Broken Fang sticker collection was often thought of one of the worst investments for a significant amount of time. The truth is, there was such a massive oversupply for these stickers and very little demand. However, that has completely changed in the past 3 months because of one specific update, the update where you could put stickers anywhere, and now we're starting to see massive growth inside of this area, specifically 1000% for the Broken Fang sticker just completely out of nowhere, and you can see in the 1-year graph, it looks absolutely insane. Now, this is not too uncommon if we want to look at some of the other stickers. They are up a decent amount in the past year just because of the increased utilization they have inside of this area. Now, unfortunately, it's not all amazing inside of this area. If you want to look at the Ancient Marauder sticker right here, you can see that there's obviously an increased manipulation in specific parts where the price just absolutely spikes. I don't think this is something that's happening overall with the Broken Fang stickers, but it is important to say that these are stickers that have been targeted in the past. Now that the Copenhagen Major is officially finished, we want to focus in on the next major, which is going to be the Shanghai Major happening in Shanghai, China. Now, this is extremely important because it's the first ever major in China, but more importantly, it's going to be starting December 1st, which is extremely important because that's about a couple months later than what we usually expect to see, at least a month later than what we've seen previously, and therefore that gives even more opportunity for Valve to go ahead and increase the sale link for the Copenhagen Major sale if that's what they want to do. However, I also want to point out the fact that right now the map pool has not officially changed, and I do not necessarily feel like it's guaranteed to happen, but I feel like it'd be a really good step forward for Valve to go ahead and change the map pool, and they've got a couple months to do it. Obviously, they need to give teams the amount of proper time to go ahead and prep for the Shanghai Major, and therefore when we're talking about an investment potential, these are the souvenir packages that do become the best investments. With that being said, the bar for souvenir package investments is not very high. If we want to look at Paris, none of them are actually profitable. Now, taking that over to Copenhagen and talking about investments here, it's actually extremely important. That's because Shanghai is going to be the first major since Berlin to actually have 3 Asian RMR teams coming into it, plus we're going to have 2 more Americas teams. There's going to be 3 less European teams, which is extremely important, especially when we're talking about Lin Vision. Lin Vision has got to be the #1 most interested sticker for the Copenhagen investment scene right now. Now, in my personal opinion, the #1 most influential thing about this sticker is going to be if we see it again in Shanghai, and right now it seems extremely likely that we are going to do so. If you want to look at the current standings, we can see that Lin Vision is currently in 2nd, and Tai Lu and Greyhound are the 2 teams behind him. Now, obviously, it's not for certain what's going to happen here, but I would find it extremely unlikely that we're adding another spot for this major and Lin Vision does not qualify. You can also use this same information for talking about the brand new Americas that are now going to have 2 more slots inside of this area. Obviously, when we're talking about Copenhagen, it's extremely hard to say what specifically is going to be a good investment because we don't have enough data to back it up right now, but I will say there's definitely a lot of great opportunities to start potentially just diving into a little bit, not making any actual investments, but getting your research ready that if a certain sticker goes down to a certain price point or we see a certain level of application numbers, it's what you want to go into. Now, keeping up with current events, we have just hit the biggest milestone in a significant amount of time. That's going to be 1.6 million players concurrently playing inside of the Counter-Strike 2 franchise. Absolutely insane. Now, obviously, if you want to look at it, the peak is 1.8 million, and we're coming dangerously close to that. We're almost about 10% away from that. Absolutely insane to see these numbers rebound, especially right now. There is nothing going on inside the game. Obviously, we have the Copenhagen Major, but if we want to talk about the game overall, it's a little bit bland. We don't have Danger Zone. We don't have a lot of the other games that we really like to see in the past. When we're talking about the maps and the map rotation, it's just a little bit more stale than a lot of people would like it to be. We're missing a little bit of that variety, and once that comes back, I think this game is going to be absolutely unstoppable. Obviously, we know there's a significant amount of logistical problems inside of this game, but those are going to be ironed out over time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. When we're talking about CSGO, people love to talk about it in a very positive light, but a lot of those problems existed there as well. Now, talking about the specific market of the cases, I want to focus in on one thing, and that's when we see peaks in the market. If we want to look at the previous one, that was obviously because of CS2. We look at it, we see the CS2 release, and we see the market go absolutely crazy. But before that, there's some very interesting trends that form. Specifically, if we want to look at the dates of when we're actually starting to see these peaks, it's actually a little bit more reliable than you might think. Usually we were seeing most of our peaks between the months of April and August, and therefore we're now starting to enter into that phase where I would say it's once again very possible. During these times, usually we saw some sort of event going on, and right now we're completely lacking in that area, but that's also a really good thing, of meaning that if we see an event come out, we would see the drop down in price right now, but we could have a very easy path to recovery afterwards. When we're talking about the overall market, there's obviously a lot of risky investments that you can go into, but if you're looking at something that's backed up by data, right now might be the perfect opportunity to start considering buying into it. Obviously, it's your decision, and I want you to make sure it's your decision, but if you're looking at something very long term, right now could be a perfect opportunity where we're seeing a stagnant market and the very strong potential of the player numbers creeping up, of all the data supporting it. It seems like it might just be ready to burst and go absolutely insane. Now, when we talk about Gabe and what the company of Valve has been up to, usually we're talking about something fun. We're talking about their trip to Hawaii or many other things that are really taking up a significant amount of the time that are overall delaying product development. However, this one's got to be the most interesting in my opinion. This is Gabe now. Obviously, he looks significantly different than most of the other images you've seen out there, and it's actually quite interesting because we only saw him 6 months ago looking like this. More so not really related to the overall game, but it's extremely interesting that he's been going on with this in his personal life. In other news, Faceit has recently come out with a brand new 2-year ban for people who are utilizing a wall hack or wall cheat inside of the game using SV cheats. It's a little bit confusing. If you want the full breakdown, it's not too hard to find, but 2 Academy players for Eternal Fire have recently got banned. Now, obviously, we don't know if they were just quote-unquote testing it or if they were actually participating, but it's very interesting there. Obviously, just be smart. Don't participate in anything like this because we're probably going to see a decent amount of more people end up just getting banned because of this. On Faceit, I believe there's no actual Steam ban, but still, why even test it? Now, giving you my breakdown of the top 3 things to watch right now, my first one is going to be the Antwerp and Stockholm capsules. Right now, we're in a very interesting predicament with Paris and Copenhagen. We don't know for sure what's going to be happening inside of that area, but when we're talking about Antwerp and Stockholm, these are a little bit more developed investments, and they're usually a really good indicator of overall what the sticker market is going to do moving forward. Secondly is going to be rare cases. You know how I feel about them. I think they're a really good indicator of what's to come inside of this area, and we know, relatively speaking, they're going to be one of the most stable. And lastly, the skins market is something I would keep my eye on. Just with everything about the player count going up, it'd be very interesting to track if the skins market is also going to be expanding during this time, or if it's going to be staying relatively stagnant. Either way, it's going to be giving you some useful information about what potentially is to come. That's all I got with the Gabe. So much for watching. Have a great day.